Okay, let's dive right into this. We're going to talk about a common delusion, a kind of glitch in our thinking that affects literally all of us. It's the reason we so often feel like we're doing more than our fair share, and it all starts with this one viral headline that just nails the feeling perfectly.
Remember the lockdowns? Yeah, this headline went everywhere, and for good reason. I mean, it just perfectly captures a conflict that so many of us have felt. The numbers, they just don't add up, right? But this isn't about who's right or who's wrong. It's about why both sides can be so absolutely sure they're correct. It's the perfect window into this powerful little glitch in our brains.
And that brings us to our first big idea, the egocentric brain. Turns out there's a really fundamental reason why we all tend to believe we're pulling more weight than anyone else. Whether it's at home, at work, or even in a group project. And here it is, the official term for it, egocentric bias. It's just our natural, default setting to see the world through a lens that's centered squarely on ourselves. And this makes us consistently, and often dramatically, overestimate our own contributions. The evidence for this shows up in some really, mathematically impossible ways.
For instance, check this out. Researchers asked authors of scientific papers, ones with multiple contributors, to estimate what percentage of the work they personally did. Well, when they added up all the estimates, the average total came out to a whopping 140%. It's impossible, but everyone felt they did more than their fair share.
And what's really fascinating is that this isn't just about us wanting to look good. When couples were asked to estimate their share of the housework, the total, of course, was way over 100%. But then, when they were asked to estimate how much of the mess was theirs, or how many fights they started, the total was still over 100%. So we think we do more of the good stuff and more of the bad stuff. So here's the key. It's not really about ego. It's about memory. Think about it. You are the star of your own movie. You see and remember every single thing you do, every dish you wash, every email you send. But you only ever see a tiny fraction of what everyone else is doing. So naturally, your contribution feels bigger. And this bias, it leads us to underestimate another massive factor in our lives.
And that brings us to the role of luck. Because we're so focused on our own efforts, we become almost completely blind to all the fortunate events and circumstances that give us a major boost. It's like having an invisible tailwind at our back that we never even noticed.
Just take a look at this chart. If you ask a pro hockey player why they made it to the NHL, they're going to talk about grit, sacrifice, and endless hard work. But what they probably won't mention is being born in January. And yet, it's wild. A staggering 40% of players in top-tier leagues are born in the first 3 months of the year, compared to just 10% in the last 3 months. How is that even possible?
Well, it's actually pretty simple. The cutoff date for most youth hockey leagues is January 1st. So a kid born in January is almost a full year older, bigger, and faster than a teammate born in December. That means they get picked for the better teams, they get way more ice time, and they get better coaching. And that small, lucky advantage of their birthday just compounds year after year after year, creating this massive gap.
Now, a lot of people get kind of defensive here. They think it has to be either skill or luck. But the truth is, you need both. It's always both. Think about world records in track and field. The athletes are all unbelievably skilled, right? But a huge number of those records are set with a tailwind. The skill gets you to the Olympics, the skill plus a little bit of lucky wind gets you the world record. And the importance of that luck, it just gets magnified like crazy when the competition is incredibly fierce. I mean, when you have thousands of talented people all fighting for just a handful of spots, talent and hard work, that's just the ticket to get in the door. It's not the guarantee of a win. Take the NASA astronaut program. In 2017, you had over 18,300 highly qualified people apply. And how many were selected? 11. Just 11. The odds are just astronomical. So let's run a little simulation to see what's really going on here. All right, let's build a model where selection is overwhelmingly based on merit, on skill. We'll say success is 95% skill, hard work, and experience, and just a tiny little 5% is luck. A good interview day, fortunate circumstances, whatever. Seems pretty fair, right? Skill should be what matters most.
So here's the question. In our little simulation, where luck is only a 5% factor, how many of the 11 people who get picked would also have been in the top 11 based on skill alone? What do you think? 8? 9? Maybe 10?
The answer, on average, is just 1.6. Yeah, let that sink in. Even with luck as a tiny 5% factor, it was enough to completely reshuffle who gets to the very top. In a hyper-competitive field, being talented and hardworking isn't enough. You also have to get a little lucky.
But here's where it gets really weird. Being delusional about all this might actually be useful. Believing that you are in complete control of your destiny can be an incredibly powerful motivator. But this delusion has a surprising upside for you and a really dangerous downside for everyone else. So here's the trade-off. For you, as an individual, believing you're 100% in charge can fuel the insane perseverance you need to succeed. I mean, if you think an outcome is just a coin flip, you're probably not going to put in the effort. The downside, though? For society, when successful people believe they did it all themselves, it can lead to this sense of entitlement, and it makes it way easier to justify inequality. There was this brilliant experiment where groups of 3 worked on a problem. One person was totally randomly assigned to be the leader. Later, the researcher brings in a plate with 4 cookies. Guess who gets the extra one? Almost every single time the randomly appointed leader just takes it. They did absolutely nothing to earn that position, but the title alone gave them this feeling that they deserved more.
And in another experiment shows the flip side of this. People were asked to remember a good thing that happened to them. One group was told to focus on their own actions that caused it. The other group was told to focus on external, lucky factors. Afterwards, when they had a chance to donate to charity, the I Got Lucky group donated 25% more. Acknowledging luck literally makes us more generous.
And all of this leads to a pretty dangerous feedback loop. The people who rise to positions of power are, by definition, both talented and lucky. But because of that egocentric bias, they mostly just see their own talent. They live in a kind of survivor bias bubble where the world seems perfectly fair because for them, hard work paid off. They don't see all the other people who worked just as hard but failed because of bad luck. And so, they might be less willing to support the very systems, the schools, the infrastructure, the social safety nets that create the circumstances for anyone to get lucky in the first place.
So what do we do with all this? We've got this useful delusion that helps us succeed, but a harmful one that hurts society. Well, the answer seems to be in embracing a paradox, in holding 2 totally contradictory ideas in your head at the same time. So here it is, the paradoxical path forward. Step 1. To stay motivated, you have to act as if you are in complete control of your destiny. You have to believe your success depends only on your own hard work. But, and this is the crucial part, step 2, deep down you have to know this isn't true for anyone. If you do succeed, you have to remember that luck played a massive role.
And embracing this second step isn't just good for society, it's actually really good for you. Acknowledging your good fortune makes you happier because it allows you to feel genuine gratitude. And as research shows, people who acknowledge the role of luck in their success are seen as kinder and are just way more likable.
So we'll end with this question. The very fact that you are watching this in a prosperous part of the world with the time and the technology to do so, it means you have already won a massive lottery. You are, without a doubt, lucky. So the real question is, what are you going to do to increase the surface area of luck for others?